Good to see you back, Mr. Jaitley. Good to see you back at work. It's a very heavy-duty portfolio that you hold, and with the health compulsions that you have, do you feel able to take on this workload?
Well, I think I've gone through a surgery, a transplant, and I've had the requisite recovery phase thereafter, which really is intended to ward off the infections. And therefore, I am now being permitted by my doctors to resume work with a certain amount of discipline, and certainly feeling far more energetic. And I'm sure the responsibility that falls on me, I hope to be able to discharge it effectively.
Well, all the best for that. Sir, since today's interview is going to be on the current controversy, which is the Congress now is holding this countrywide set of press conferences on the Rafale deal and calling it the biggest scam of the NDA government. My question to you is, why was the issue of pricing so complicated and so fogged up, in the sense that, you know, there were several statements. The Minister of State for Defence had a figure, Dassault had a figure, and after that Raksha Mantri said that we cannot release the details, and that is an issue which the Congress government is, the Congress party is bringing up.
First of all, let us discuss it in stages. What is the object of the Congress party? Its object is very clear. This has been one of the cleanest governments in recent history. They don't have a single charge with any form of evidence or material, not a shred of it, as far as any wrong practices or corruption are concerned. So manufacture a charge. And if you have no facts, just keep repeating a falsehood. Now, let us in the first instance look at the conduct of the Congress party, and then I'll come back to all the pricing issues. What is this transaction all about? This transaction is about purchase of medium multi-role combat aircrafts. Why is that needed? The Indian Air Force and the forces have been feeling that their combat ability has to be substantially improved. A simple aircraft, even if it's a fighter aircraft, is really a flying instrument. You can use it for such attacks as far as the eye can see. It's only an aircraft which is loaded with weaponry, which can strike targets at a huge distance. And when did this proposal start?
During the UPA regime.
The necessity was felt by the forces in 2001, that is post-Kargil. The enemy was on the mountaintop, and we were using the Bofors guns to fire at them, and it took us 3 months to get rid of them. If we had the combat aircrafts of a multi-role, and you could strike from, let us say, a 50-kilometer or a 100-kilometer distance on target from the aircrafts, the whole war game would have been different. And therefore, the forces felt that you need this combat aircraft, which is fully loaded, which is multi-role, so it performs many functions, the details of which we cannot go into, and that's what the Raksha Mantri rightly said, because these are national security considerations. 2001 is when the need was felt. 2003, the acceptance of necessity was recorded. And 2004, the UPA came. Both our neighbors,
Pakistan and China,
are empowered in this area. China more so. The UPA itself put out a tender, got offers, shortlisted 2, and when 2007, asked for the price bids, found Rafale to be the L1 cheapest, and spent close to a decade till 2012, shortlisted on price and quality Rafale, and for some reason that indecisive government then turned around and said, well, it needs to be re-examined, facts have to be reconsidered, and then put it in the cold storage, and India's security was compromised. I have therefore, in the questions that I have raised today, was it policy paralysis, decision-making paralysis, that you allow India's security to be compromised by indefinitely not taking a decision? Or was there any collateral consideration which compelled you to just abandon it and put India's security at risk? After all, once you have gone through a tendering process, once you have gone through there are two ways in which the defense forces acquire their acquisitions. Either it's by competitive bidding or it's by an intergovernmental agreement. India and Russia have had several intergovernmental agreements in the past. We have a history. They went through a competitive bidding, shortlisted, and then virtually abandoned it. And the forces were crying foul that we need our combat ability because we live in a troubled zone and we need it. And therefore, my first set of questions to the UPA is, why did you indefinitely delay it? Why did you abandon it? And did you not seriously compromise India's national security when you did this? And then what happens is the next phase, when in 2014 the NDA government came into power.
But so you're questioning their motive regarding questioning you about the Rafale. They have no issues on Rafale being the preferred choice. After all, it was the UPA government which decided, not the Eurofighter, not the others which bidded. L1 was Rafale, and in fact they selected 126 aircraft, and they were going in for 126 aircraft for 526 crores. Then comes the NDA and decides, no, don't want this, don't want HAL, and we'd rather go for just 36 in flyaway condition. That is the problem that they have, that where is the specs and how much did you pay for it and why the extra?
Okay, now let's come to their...
Was there an extra?
Let's come to the pricing issue.
Right.
I am going to tell you something very limited because I am raising some questions. Let them answer it.
Them as in the UPA, you want the Congress to answer it?
The Congress and its leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, to answer. Every fact that they have said on pricing is factually false. And I repeat, every fact is false, not one fact is true. Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself has given some 7 different prices in different speeches with regard to the Rafale. That is the 2007 offer. And the simple case is as though this is a kindergarten debate or a primary school debate. Well, I was paying 500 and something, you've paid 1600 and something. That's the argument being given. It shows how little an understanding he has. I have at least twice repeated this sentence. How much does he know and when will he know? Can you compare a basic aircraft, its pricing, with a loaded aircraft? Can you compare a simple aircraft with a weaponized aircraft? So let us now, for this purpose, and I am going to give you a broad fact and therefore put this question to them. 2007 they accepted the L1 price. What was the price? The basic price was, let us say, X. Then the basic price X had an escalation clause, that till such day each aircraft is delivered, the price will keep escalating. So if the first supply, if in 2012 they had come to an agreement, the first would have been delivered in 2017. So from the 2007 price till 17, the escalations would have gone
X
on.
plus plus plus.
X plus plus.
Escalation and then the
foreign exchange variation.
Okay.
So
and the add-ons that you will put on, the machinery.
So the India specific add-ons and the foreign exchange variant. Let us first see the price of the basic aircraft without add-ons. Is the Congress party aware of this fact, that if you take the 2007 L1 offer and the escalation clause without the add-ons, the price negotiated in 2015-16 is cheaper? How did this arise?
The price that the NDA government negotiated is cheaper
Than the 2007
than the.
with the escalations.
How can that be possible?
But that's factually correct. Once
So-
the pricing, once you get, I am making an assertion.
Even an apple costs more than it did in
No,
you know,
so you
6
add the
years ago.
escalation of 2007.
Okay.
So to the apple you add the escalation. So 2007 price plus, let us assume this contract is signed in 2016. So from 2005 to 2016, take the basic price, the escalation and the foreign exchange cost. In 2015, the Indian Prime Minister and the French President agreed that you will have 36 fully loaded aircrafts being given to India, no manufacture in India, and these will be on terms cheaper than the 2007 terms. Better terms than 2007. Now, what were those better terms? And I am asking this basic question. You can take the simple aircraft and you can take the fully loaded aircraft. The 2007 offer had both. What was negotiated from 2015 to 2016 and finally executed in 2016 with the escalations and the currency violations and the variations, the basic aircraft price turns out to be 9% cheaper. Is the Congress party aware of this?
The 9% cheaper that you were talking about, now two of your former NDA colleagues, besides Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who you were saying
They haven't
has-
looked at the file.
Right.
You see, those NDA colleagues, if they were in NDA, would be speaking a different language. You see, our tragedy in NDA has been, particularly in the BJP, we've had a fair share of career nationalists. They are nationalists and with us as long as it suits their career.
Okay.
And therefore, when they speak a contrarian language, I don't attach much credibility to them.
So one of them has also, been involved with the Bofors investigation as a journalist. So now they of course, see merit in the Congress party's allegation, and they have said that this discrepancy in price amounts to a loss of 35,000 crores to the
Well, I
exchequer.
think you can speak any figure.
Okay.
Let's be very clear.
It's
Somebody may be involved in the Bofors investigation as a journalist. I was involved as a lawyer in the Bofors investigation, so I know more than what the files say. There was Mr. Kothrochi. There were bank accounts. There were people being paid. So if you had the slight ethical integrity, Bofors was a case where we detected the bank accounts into which the Swedish company paid the monies in Switzerland. We were able to identify the beneficial owners of those bank accounts. And one of the owners was somebody then close to the ruling party or the ruling family, Mr. Kothrochi. Now, where are all these facts? It's a government to government agreement. It's
So
government of India and government of France. And therefore, there is no private party in this contract.
So the allegation that the Congress is making is that the way it's similar is that there is some kind of crony capitalism with regard to
I'll come to
the
that.
offset.
Let's
get to the pricing.
Let's first come to the pricing.
Okay.
So my question therefore is, if you are fully aware, if Mr. Antony read the file himself when he abandoned the contract, he would tell his Congress party that that contract, that L1 offer of 2007 had a basic 2007 price plus escalation plus currency variations. And in 2015 or 16, this would have been 9% costlier than what the basic aircraft price of 2016 negotiated was. My second question is, are they aware of this fact, or have their ministers who dealt with it and who know the file, that if it was a fully weaponized loaded aircraft, then loaded to loaded you compare the price again? The 2016 price is 20% cheaper than the 2007 offer.
Okay.
So we got it cheaper.
So there's 20% and 9%.
What this lack of educated debate on this subject is, take my basic price of 2007, forget the escalation clause, forget the currency violations, forget the loading of all the weaponry and compare it with a loaded weapon in 2016. The difference in the two escalation clauses were 2007 had a fixed escalation clause, 2016 had an escalation clause linked only to the European rate of inflation, which comes just about a little over 1%. And therefore, every term as per the 2015 arrangement is a more favorable term than what was in the 2007. Not only that, aircrafts are required to be serviced. Aircrafts are required, if there is something temporarily out of order, the fleet has to be replaced, so that during that we are without fleet. So there are a series of terms, I am obviously not in a position to disclose them. Each one of them is more favorable than the 2007 offer. Now, without knowing any of these facts, you simply start comparing apples and oranges. Compare the cost of a loaded aircraft with a basic aircraft. Well, it doesn't happen in this manner. So my questions to them are that on every count, the 2016, so my first set of questions is, you compromised national security. You have not given any reason why you delayed it by 10 years. The combat ability of our forces had to be increased. We live in a troubled zone. My second set of questions is that, are you aware before raking up this controversy and hurting India's defense, that each one of these, on the price criteria, the 2015 offer is more favorable at every stage than the 2007 offer?
So when you did this deal, the allegation against your government is that the deal was done bypassing the Cabinet Committee on Security and all kind of defense
That is the third lie. That is the third lie.
Okay.
The charge is, there was no price negotiation committee, there was no contract negotiation committee, there was no Cabinet Committee on Security.
That it was top driven. The
was
decision
top
making
driven.
was top driven is the allegation.
You see, government doesn't function like this. Let's be very clear.
The allegation is that your government functions
Therefore,
like this.
the allegation, as I said, every word is false.
Okay.
Because every word is reported, and let me ask them the question. When the Prime Minister has a negotiation with France, obviously he gets briefed by the forces and the Defense Ministry that this is required, this was almost about to be completed, and it's not done. And therefore, we need these aircrafts. And therefore, you enter into a preliminary arrangement that we are willing to buy on terms which will be agreed on, 36 aircrafts, manufactured there and supplied here, not to be manufactured here. So no private party has any role in manufacture here. Then what happens?
But wasn't it there earlier that HAL was supposed to manufacture some of it in
the
the earlier deal?
The earlier deal they were
which you scrapped, yeah.
No, the earlier L1 offer was 18 will be surprised, the rest will be manufactured. And I am not getting into HAL issue at the moment for the reason as to there is a detailed correspondence as why that didn't happen.
Okay.
Probably that was one of the considerations that weighed with the UPA when they abandoned it.
It.
Because they had serious doubts about manufacturing abilities in India. Now, once this preliminary arrangement is entered, let's negotiate better terms than 2007. So the price negotiation committee, India and France meet for 14 months. The contract negotiation committee goes on for 14 months. So that's the next falsehood. Are you aware?
2014 onwards.
2015 onwards, 15 to 16.
Okay.
So the next lie is Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his party aware that the CNC, the PNC went on for 14 months and finally produced a contract and terms more favorable than 2007.
So the CCS was aware about these
Now,
negotiations?
once the contract is finalized, before it is executed, it goes to the CCS. Is Mr. Rahul Gandhi aware that the CCS then approves it? It's only then that the contract is signed. So every fact, I reiterate, on price negotiation committee, on contract negotiation committee, on CCS which is being said, factually false. Now let us come to, if you want, the question which you raised earlier, what about private parties?
Yes, because the Congress is leveling charges that your party, when it was the offset deal that they were talking about, there's crony capitalism involved. There is the Anil Ambani factor that he is close to to the government, to members in your party,
I
and
think
hence
the Congress
he
party
got
must
it.
remember that it can't fool all the people all the time. First of all, let us be clear. This is a government to government arrangement.
The purchase of the deal, but the offset isn't.
Please, let me just complete, because
Sir.
you must understand what offset is.
Okay.
Offset has nothing to do with this contract. There are hundreds of offsets in India. Government will purchase 36 aircrafts, fully loaded, coming all the way from France, manufactured in France. No private party involved. The role of the government of India ends. Now, under a policy which was devised by the UPA, every defense supplier, the original equipment manufacturer, as they call it, OEM, has to undertake some offsets. Means about 30% of the total contract value, he has to in future start making purchases from India. Who will he make purchases from? He selects his own partners. Those purchases have nothing to do with Rafale or these aircrafts. He could be buying guns, he could be buying pistols, he could be buying binoculars, he could be buying anything, or he could be buying some spare parts. And for this purpose, not only Rafale, but every defense manufacturer has to enter, original equipment supplier has to enter into the offset contracts. Now, they enter into offset contracts with India's private sector, they enter into with public sector, and therefore, Dassault will also enter into contracts with whoever they want. The government of India has nothing to do, and they won't enter into with one. They will enter into with several companies, both in the private sector and the public sector. In fact, Dassault has also entered into one contract for offset with the public sector in India.
So at no point of time did the NDA recommend to Dassault
How can we?
To
See,
take Anil Ambani or HAL or anybody?
Madam, this is not the first defense purchase. There have been dozens, if not hundreds, of defense purchases, and every OEM does his offset purchases.
But the quantum in this is so large, and hence
Well,
the
the
query.
quantum in defense is always large, and therefore quantum doesn't mean anything. What is? Please produce a shred of evidence that government of India has anything to do with any of the offset suppliers for any contract,
Okay.
whether under UPA or under NDA. That is an independent right of a supplier, that since you have made it obligatory for me to make certain purchases from India and take supplies from India, I will take the supplies from whoever I want.
Another question is, since we're talking about offsets, HAL gets nothing. Now in the new deal, they neither get to make the aircraft,
You see,
and then they don't even get in the sense of offsets because they are
But we
competing
not,
with private.
I'm afraid HAL has a sufficient order line.
Okay.
They have a sufficient order line to keep themselves reasonably busy. And therefore, there are other Indian public sectors who are getting it.
Okay.
Therefore, the question is, if Indian Air Force needs these aircrafts immediately, do they wait for an Indian company to acquire expertise to then start manufacturing without knowing the ability of how good an aircraft they will be able to manufacture? Until then, wait till the cows come home before you get the aircrafts in hand? Or is it that you need urgently? UPA wasted 10 years and NDA was not willing for this kind of a policy paralysis in decision making, and therefore they needed, so the fully loaded aircrafts will come, we will pay for them, that's our only deal. Who they purchase their aircrafts from is Dassault's prerogative.
Right. The purchase of the aircraft, it took 10 years. You had an issue with the way purchases were done, and you shelved that. Why did you have to continue with the offset mechanism? Why not shelve that also and change the offset mechanism to help the PSUs, because you're Make in India?
You see, I'll tell you, you will, let this be very clear. There is a larger public interest, and policies are not changed regularly.
Okay.
The object of offsets is that you must also India had no defense manufacturing potential. First the PSUs came up, some potential came up. Now private sector has started coming in. Today we changed the policy to allow even private sector to start manufacturing in collaboration with foreign principals. Public sector can also enter into those collaborations. HAL can still enter into any collaboration. HAL is in fact is entering into collaborations with foreign principals to start manufacturing in various areas. Now the sky is the limit. The question is that the object behind the offset policy of the UPA was that you must augment domestic capacities and the foreign supplier must buy 30% equivalent from Indian manufacturers. So some capacity building takes place. Why should we abandon that?
And you don't want to get into protectionism as far
And therefore, our
PSUs are
immediate,
concerned.
what was the priority? We couldn't mistake chalk for cheese. Our priority was the Air Force combat requirement.
Correct.
And for that, we can't say, this must wait till a training session of Indian companies, public and private sector takes place.
Right. You've been defense minister too, and that is why I would ask this question, that you raised this part about national security and that it was compromised. Can you elaborate a little bit about how our combat strength, our squadrons were affected because
You see,
there
let's be
was
very
purchase
clear.
problem?
Because of age, the number of squadrons were being depleted. And if you delay a transaction by 12 years and 15 years, the depletion is all the more. The Kargil experience had taught our forces, and similarly, seeing the competitive strength of the other forces, you needed this combat strength. And you needed, therefore, it at an immediate basis. And you could not afford to wait any longer and say we'll wait for 10 years, 20 years till we are technology savvy and we can do the manufacturing ourselves. And therefore, the government decided the best interest is let's get 36 aircrafts and fully loaded so that the Air Force has the capacity, and let us get it on terms better than the 2007 offer. And once we negotiated that, it's a deal which is in perfect national interest. Now, if you look at the big picture, you have a Congress party which had a scandalous part in defense deals, the kickbacks of the 1980s. You had a Congress party which delayed for over a decade the Rafale purchase, which for some unknown reason abandoned the purchase after shortlisting it. And then, after compromising national security, and these are my questions to them. My next question is, without knowing the facts, you raise a red herring on pricing when the 2016 price, both for bare aircraft and loaded aircraft, is more favorable than the 2007 offer. And then you raise a question, private parties. It's a government to government deal, there is no private party in it. The private part, not only one, Rafale may well have a dozen private and public sector companies supplying offsets to them. And we are not concerned with that.
So you raised the fact that Pakistan and China both have the MMRCA, and Pakistan in fact is manufacturing. We are buying. One, our Make in India gets a question mark, that we are buying, not making. Two, that Pakistan, a country where nothing they make, they are going to be making aircraft. Why has it been that India has not been able to get into any kind of deal with any country
I think this is a
to
question,
help us
this
make?
is a question which is de-linked from
Correct, from this
issue.
deal, yes.
If you look at this growth, for some reason, the Congress party's approach when it was in power for a long time was extremely retrograde. We will buy 100% from foreign governments, we will buy 100% from foreign companies, but we will not allow India's private sector to manufacture here. And therefore, defense for a long time remained a prerogative of public sector. Public sector did some good role, I am not saying that. And therefore, high technologies, exclusive technologies were only available with some of the most important foreign companies which were doing these manufactures, whether it's in Russia, whether it's in France, Germany or the United States. So you had to enter into collaborations with them. During Mr. Vajpayee's government, we opened up 26%. Then when I first became the defense minister in 2014, I made it 49 FDI. Even at 49, many of them said, why should I pass my exclusive technology and my intellectual property to a company which is 51% Indian? So we had to say, in cutting edge technologies, we are even willing to go up. And now if you see that process we have started, where a large number of Indian companies, whether it's the Tatas or it's Mahindras or it's Larsen and Toubro or it's Reliance, these big Indian companies have started getting into international collaborations with foreign players, whether it's manufacturing aircrafts is concerned or it's manufacturing ships is concerned or other weaponry is concerned. Now all these years it didn't happen. In the last, now if you remember, I in fact had 2 small tenures as defense minister. I opened it up in the first, and in the second tenure I finalized the strategic partner policy. That for each platform, whether it is shipping or it's aircraft or it's weaponry, whichever are there, the government of India will identify one strategic partner, which will be an Indian company. That Indian company will then get a manufacturing base of that platform in India, and government will have to make purchases from them, and they can enter into collaborations with the technology suppliers who have a huge experience internationally. So that's a process, you are right, but that's the process we are trying to encourage, which all these years has been put on a back burner.
So, if I was to come back to Rafale, it's not going to be delivered till next year. Is our national security vulnerable
No,
at
see,
this stage?
I think I won't use the word vulnerable, but I think when it is delivered, because once you enter into a contract, the delivery process starts and the delivery takes, there is a certain time gap and then the delivery takes a certain amount of time. It's not vulnerable in the absence. We've done extremely well in our wars even before that. I think it will be further enhanced. So the object is that with the combat ability being enhanced, the situation for our forces will be much better.
Our fighter squadrons, can they do without the Rafale till 2019?
I think
They have to do with it because it can't be delivered.
They have to do it, but I think their combat ability will be hugely strengthened once the Rafales are there.
All through this interview, you've been very critical of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, saying that he doesn't know the facts. What prevented the NDA from having a one-on-one discussion with Mr. Rahul Gandhi or with, at that time, the president of the Congress party, Sonia Gandhi, and the others,
I'm afraid,
and discuss with them what were the specs and that there is no controversy?
That was not the object.
Okay.
Their object, we had to know their intention. You see, any responsible politician will know government to government transactions are always clean. Governments don't pay kickbacks. Government transactions are clean. It's a transaction between government of India, government of France, publicly made, publicly declared terms that we will give you an offer better than 2007 offer, and then entered into. But they had already gone home. If you can go to the extent of misquoting President Macron and saying, well, he told me there is no secrecy clause. The French government denied it. The government of India showed the secrecy clause in parliament, and then you turn around and say, well, hoga par main nahi manta. If that is the cussed approach, then you are looking, look, my party has a legacy of corruption in defense deals. Let me make a faint effort to say, well, everybody is corrupt. If that is the political strategy, now please don't advise us to show them official files. So
what you're saying is that they're trying to whitewash the Bofors deal by making a similar kind of an allegation with Rafale?
They are trying to manufacture a controversy where none exists. As I said, they are guilty of compromising national security. That's a question they have to answer. They are guilty of falsehood on every count. That's a question they have to answer, where the 2016 price, both of the Bear aircraft and the loaded aircraft, is cheaper than the 2007 price taken in totality. They are guilty of saying there is a private party in this contract. It's a government to government contract. The offset arrangements which Rafale or somebody else may have with 10 different parties has nothing to do with the government of India. They are guilty on that score. And in the process, putting the entire acquisition process, which is vital for national security, in under a shadow.
So, lastly, the Congress party is set to make Rafale into an election issue. It's already begun that in the next 8 months. What is your party's strategy to combat?
The falsehood of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, making truth into a victim and compromising national security will well be a national issue. And that's the effort I am currently engaged in.
to say you're a liar and you're a liar and that's
No,
it?
I measure my words, and therefore there are better ways of saying the same thing.
And you're going to be mounting a campaign, your party, to counter this, or is it just going to be ignoring what
No,
the
certainly,
Congress is
our
doing?
party is always active. In fact, we are always hyperactive. And therefore, once this truth comes out, these are my questions. Let them answer it. If they don't answer it, or if they try an issue deflection, then I'll give my next response.
You're expecting an answer from Mr. Rahul Gandhi or Mr. Antony?
Well, I want appropriately the Congress party and its president must answer.
Right.
If Mr. Antony remembers the facts, he would have told them what my escalation clauses were, what my currency fluctuation impact was.
Do you
He would
think-
have at least told them. Both Mr. Antony and Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh would have known that there was a secrecy clause that they signed. Mr. Antony signed it. He would have at least told Mr. Gandhi before he made a speech in Parliament, don't say this, there is a secrecy clause which I have signed.
Do you think that they are deliberately not telling Mr. Gandhi? Is that your sense?
Well, that's
then?
a presumption I'll leave to you and to your viewers.
Thank you very much for speaking with us, Mr. Jaitley.